hello to another day of my equestrian life, and we're going to address the elephant in the room. I would like everybody to meet William, and you're going to be seeing a lot of William here. So I sold one of my horses. I originally had an older bay mare, which was my mom's horse, and we ended up selling her. Now, my original horse plan was selling Sebastian because he was my OG project horse. I bought him as a project. He's finished now. And thankfully, because I really didn't want to sell him, God opened doors so that I could get another project without having to sell him by selling another horse that we didn't really care for. I didn't really care for. My mom sort of liked. I hated her guts. So William here is a much better alternative to that mare. Just thinking about her. Happy she's gone. But William here I thought would be a really fun horse to make videos out of because unlike Sebastian, you're going to see him from day one. Today is technically day 2 that we're having him. I picked him up on Sunday, and I think today is Monday. Maybe it's Tuesday. No, it's Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. So he's only been here for really like a full day and a half because we brought him later in the afternoon. But he is a grade quarter horse. He's a quarter cross. We're not sure what he's crossed with. Our guesses are a thoroughbred, maybe some distant Arab, or maybe a gaited horse. He doesn't gate though. When I have the funds for it, we're going to pull his hair and get a DNA test and figure out what he's crossed with. But he is a between 4 and 6 years old, vet-aged, green broke gelding. Now, I've dealt with green broke horses before in the past. I had a Mustang that was quote-unquote green broke. He was not green broke. He was started under saddle, if that. You could not even get on him half the time. And I broke him to be not exactly finished, but between green broke and broke. So actually working with a green horse, I rode him when we went to buy him. Actually working with an actual green broke horse, I feel like it's going to be a lot nicer because I did not enjoy the started under saddle training. No. So he is walk, trot, canter. He's young. He's very curious. I wouldn't exactly say spooky. I would just say young and curious. Most curious horse I've owned. Honestly, it makes me realize that my other horses are not very curious animals. My other 2 horses despise him. They have completely ignored him, and they only let him eat hay when they let him. And that's mainly because they're really jealous. They will not let anybody go in the pasture and pet him without them having to intervene. It's really funny. But he's really sweet. He's definitely your total bay gelding character, which I'm all for. He obviously has no traumas. He's been well taken for. He has a good foundation. He definitely has good groundwork and really likes to lick hands and smell feet. So today is my first day actually taking him out and doing things. I took him out yesterday to show my farrier friends to tell me what they thought he may have been crossed with. So he sort of was just messed with yesterday and touched and judged for his looks and his temperament by several other people. But today is actually the first day we're going to start working with him. So technically, yes, he's green broke and he does walk, trot, canter, and I walk trotted him. I didn't canter because the saddle I was riding in was absolutely awful and I could not find my one stirrup. Now, I learned from my Mustang that I broke that just because they're green broke doesn't mean they probably don't have some holes in their education of other things. For instance, my Mustang didn't know how to back up in saddle. He didn't know how to turn. You couldn't even get on the saddle. I could do that all with him. So that's a huge step up from where I started last time. But today I'm sort of going to get a feel of what his groundwork is. He does have good groundwork manners. He can be a little pushy sometimes, but I mean ever so slightly. He's getting used to the flies here. We picked him up from Alabama. They did not have flies up there, so he's having a rude awakening to the existence of flies. But honestly, I have seen worse. When we brought Sebastian and the Mustang I had, they bucked uncontrollably throughout fly season. Now Sebastian has Chillax and the Theodore. That's the Mustang's name. That's what I named him. Theodore also Chillax throughout the season, but he hasn't really cared that much. I'm just gonna do some groundwork. We're gonna go everything that I personally think he should know very well before we start writing. So there's a few commands, and I'll explain them to you as I go over them with him. And right now it's just gonna be like a test. This first day is just gonna be I'm just gonna let him get comfortable to me. And B, it's going to be a test. I'm going to go over everything he could possibly have knowledge on. Most of it he probably will not. I don't expect him to. But I'm going to go over it anyway, see how he reacts. And this is going to tell me a few things. It's going to tell me, A, where he needs improvement before we start under saddle work. B, it's going to tell me where his weaknesses lies. C, it's going to tell me, as a young horse, how is he going to react to being asked something he doesn't know. And how is he going to react to things he's already been taught. So it's just going to give me a good idea of his temperament. I mean, I already have a good idea of his temperament. But it's going to give me a good idea of his knowledge and how he's going to react and act when in a learning area. Because some horses can be really sweet in the pen and then turn really sour when it comes to doing learning. Some horses despise groundwork. Some of them really despise under saddle work. So it's just going to give me a feel of where all his strengths and weaknesses lie, and where we're going to start improving and where we're going to start working. The biggest thing with him though is I already have a list just for you, of some things that I've already seen that need improving. But honestly, all the things that I have seen needing improving with him are very minor. Like, they're not like he's going to kill me sort of things, which I'm used to dealing with. I'm used to dealing with I'm going to kill you. So it's kind of strange having a horse that I'm not going to take too much comfort in him, because that's when you do get surprised, bucked off. But out of all the horses I've thrown my leg over while going to buy, he has been the chillest one, by far. He felt really nice and steady. Like he wasn't going to do anything crazy. And we were out in an open field. And I know my hot horses and my green horses and my young horses out in an open field with a random rider on their back, trying to find their stirrup, so they're fiddling all around. I could not with my stirrup. I can't even tell you. Maybe I'll even show you a video. It was so bad. And honestly, he didn't really care. He was just there. He would do whatever I asked when I was able to ask it, and then when I was not looking for my stirrup. And he was just curious about the field next door, and he would pick up the trot and then stop as soon as I asked. So his main thing riding-wise that I picked up, and I mean, this is just off of one ride. After we put more rides on him, I'm going to find more things, or I might find less things. You never know. But I did find he was very sensitive to leg pressure. Every time you tapped him, he would pick up the trot, which is a very common thing in green horses. I mean, green, young, not intensely trained. All my horses I've ever owned have had that problem, where you put leg to turn, not to go forward, to turn, and they're so used to leg meaning forward, because that's the first thing they're taught. They'll pick up the trot and turn. You just have to teach them that leg doesn't always mean forward. And that's why I don't actually use leg very often to get my horses to go forward. It's all vocal and seat, no leg. Unless we're going from like a walk to a canter, which, trust me, he's not going to be doing for a very long time. I should probably bring the fly spray. I know. Yeah, that's a whip. So one of the most important things to do when you're interacting with a new green horse, and this is going to be like a how-to. I'm going to tell you all the things I do with the little experience that I have. We're going to bring him out here. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to touch him with the whip. We're going to touch him. You see, he's very interested in the whip. He's very curious. He wants to bite the whip and taste it. He's totally allowed to. This is not a weapon. This is not anything bad. This is just an extension of my arm, so that if I touch him somewhere that he doesn't like, I'm not going to get picked. That's all it is. I had a trash bag on it originally. So right now he probably has a fly on his private part, which is why he's doing that. As long as he doesn't buck, it's not my problem. riding him and making him, I'm just making sure he's nice and comfortable with it. Even if I fix his forelock with it if I want to. Right now I'm just letting him think. Does he want to choose thinking at the flies between me? I try to work in the morning. It's literally 9:30 and the flies are already out. I didn't wake up very early because I had a crazy day yesterday. But I'm going to try waking up earlier to beat the flies in the sun and this awful Florida weather. I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm not being aggressive with it in any way. I'm doing pretty good. I've had worse. But you're going to notice how his head got really high now when I pulled out the whip. Probably seen a whip before. He knows it means business. But this is another thing he needs to fix, this high headset. So we're going to teach him how to lower it. So right there, even though that was an accident and he was just smelling the ground, I'm going to take advantage of that and I'm going to give him a treat for it because technically it was what I asked for. Like technically it wasn't. It was what I asked for. So even though it wasn't a purposeful action of it, technically he did it. So I'm going to encourage it. And honestly, most of the things I have taught my horses are on accident, meaning that they did it on accident and I just encouraged it, reinforced it, and they caught on through doing the accident of doing it. It wasn't a purposeful action. Yeah, we're gonna do this first. Okay. So this is a very I don't know if it's something people normally teach their horses, but I teach all the horses I ever come in contact with this. Just because A, it makes both of us safer, and B, it makes my life a lot easier. So here, I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just asking William to yield to my whip and my eye pressure. I'm not using the halter. You'll see that I'm grabbing the halter, but I'm not actually pulling on it. I just hold that because there's a chance that they might kick you in the face. I've had it happen before, and if you need to turn them away from not kicking you in the face, that's why I hold the halter line. But I'm just asking him to yield to my whip pressure. So I'm going to ask him to do it a bit slower. I'm just asking him to execute the movement. I don't want him to get nervous. I don't want him to throw his head up. I want him to be able to do it with a low headset, nice, calm, and easy. Because you got to remember, one of the foundation blocks of collection is, it has a specific word. Well, one of them is connection, but that's a whole different story. It's relaxation. So he's got to be able to do this all with relaxation and have constant relaxation to be able to do collection, which is the focal point of all teaching in every horse that I use. I use collection in mind for every focal point. Because if you look at the collection pyramid, and I recommend you look it up, you do all those things on that pyramid and you're gonna and you do them well. Like you don't just, you do them well. You really focus on those things. You don't focus on collection. You focus on the building blocks of collection. It's going to really benefit your horse all around. Now, of course, collection has to do with more riding work, but that doesn't mean it doesn't start from the ground also. You have to have connection. You have to have relaxation. You have to have rhythm. You have to have all that from the ground to be able to do it in the saddle, which is why we're starting on the ground and not riding him on my first day of owning him. So there's a few things I want you to take note of now that I'm going to do this on his other side. The first thing is that I only pick up my whip when he's like not listening to my clucking. As soon as he responds, I'm continuing clucking, but I'm going to drop my whip because I want to encourage it just having to cluck and not have to include my whip. And I also want you to notice that how he threw his head over me to get me on his other side rather than his correct side. So you see, he takes that command a little fast to my liking. I don't necessarily want him to be running away from me. I want him to be moving his butt away from me, but not necessarily getting to the point where he has to throw his head over me to switch sides. So the ideal posture is that I always stay by his shoulder, but when I look at his butt and I point, he stops like right there. Right? I don't need him to start spinning unless I keep chasing him. He should never get to the point where he has to throw his head over me, so I end up on this side. Because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because we're working on that side. So this is going to happen. It's happened with all the horses I've taught it. They are going to try, for whatever reason, on this left side. And a lot of the time, if it's on the left side, it means they're more comfortable on the right side. Like they're going to have a better right lead. They're going to be better. I'm sorry. This is my right. This is my left. So right now, he's probably going to have a better left lead and a left side because he's more comfortable doing that command on the left side. Because when I come here to the right, he tries to throw his head over me to put me on the left side, which is fine. That's just him trying to use his brain to do what I'm asking. I'm just not going to encourage that part. I don't want him throwing his head over because we're working on this side, not that side. So, and it's a very common mistake that they do. So I'm not going to get upset about it. So, but now I know just off that he's most likely going to be left-handed, left-leaded, however you want to say it. His left part of his brain is more dominant. And that's just based off that, because all horses have one side where they want you specifically standing when you do this command. And I'm just asking him to spin his butt to my pressure. So he knows his basics. He knows most of his basics. We're going to continue with whip work, and then we're going to take it to just halter work. We're going to see how he does just in the halter. But I'm going to add something a bit more experience, something that's going to take a bit more experience. Like, I'd say this is as much groundwork as I would teach him before we start doing, I cannot today. I can't. Alright. I'm just going to ask him to half pass off his shoulder. Off shoulder pressure. So now here I'm asking him, instead of yielding his back end, I'm asking him to yield his shoulders, which is also called like a half cross, a half pass. I don't remember. But I'm just asking him to yield his shoulder into my pressure. Now you're going to see several times my little nod of approval. Because he obviously has been introduced to this. Now on his left side, again, he did really well. But you're going to see here on his right side, he really struggled to do as well on his left side. And this just shows me that he's been introduced to this, but it definitely needs a lot more work. But in a week, I'll probably get it to the point where I would like to have it. But it definitely took him a hot minute on the right side to get somewhat to what I was asking, like to actually execute what I was asking. But still, I was pretty happy with what he gave me, like that he did actually understood it. So you definitely saw again on one side, he knew exactly what I was asking, but on this right side of his, not mine, his right side here, he's a bit more, he hasn't been taught it nearly as well on his left side. But again, that's probably because his left side in his brain dominant than his right side. So you saw how his left side, it was tons more responsive. Now, halter and hand-wise, I don't have that many complaints. I'm sorry, I had to scratch my face. It's about what you want. If you stop walking, they should stop walking. If you start walking, they should stop. There you go. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Very good. Very good. Now here's another thing to check that I would have never thought of until I owned Sebastian. Some horses are actually not halter broke. Some of them just are so used to following you when they have a halter and lead rope, doesn't actually mean they're halter broke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test his halter brokenness by, even though I'm standing here, actually I'm sorry, I have to come to this side, I'm going to pull that way. So he's going to want to follow me this way because I'm going to walk this way, but I'm actually going to pull him that way. So we're going to see how he reacts. I know that's not the most easy to understand command. I know, I'm making you think, bugger. So you see, a better way to do it is you wrap the rope around their behind, but I don't think we're at that point yet. But ideally, yeah, he's following me really well, but is he actually following the halter? And horses that are not typically halter broke very well, but just following the lead line, are more likely to pull. So it's just a good test to have. I mean, I don't really care. He's technically not very halter broken. He doesn't cause me any issues. So it's not my most worrisome worry. So here you're gonna see me pat him and tap him and poke him a lot. And sadly my video got cut off here, so I'm gonna add a few more pieces of footages of the first day when we brought him home. But here I was just testing to make sure, even though I was pretty sure that it wasn't the problem, but I was just making sure that when he's sensitive to leg under saddle, it wasn't because of any pain he was having on his sides or any discomforts, or if he was just sensitive there. But you'll see that he doesn't really care with all my poking and tapping, and he's more worried about the flies. But I was just trying to make good sure that it wasn't anything medical, even though I was pretty sure that it was just he needing more training, but there's no hurt in double checking. But this is basically where we left off. I was pretty happy with how he did. Like, he did everything more than I was expecting. Whoever trained him did give him a decent groundwork education, but I'm definitely going to further his education and groundwork over this next week. But I was very happy to see that he actually understood decently most of what I asked. So I was really happy, and he was really comfortable with me. So we ended on a very good note, and we called it a day because the flies were getting worse and the sun came out. So that was it.
It's a cutie.
I hate steering. Where is my stirrup?
What did your instructor say? It's because you scrunch up your legs so you lose your stirrups.
Heel down and then your stirrup won't come out.
I know.
But never again will I want goats. So terrible.
I love goats. You're crazy.
Get pictures of that. Oh, that's not bad. Love at first sight, part 5.
Like part 27 for Madison.
I know. Daddy. Sebastian does not care.
I don't appreciate your boyness and balliness of the boy. Girl, you gotta fix your hair.
You can walk him one more time if you want to.
Did the sheep just try to head by him?